Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, okay, well, my number 2 is Grand Theft Auto 5. I assume it's your number 1.
It is my number 1, yes.
Okay, how much have you done?
So I've played, I don't know in terms of hours, and I don't want to say exactly where I am in case people want to go in completely blind, and I respect that. But I'm about, I would guess, maybe 12 to 14 hours in, and probably about a quarter of the way into the story, I would guess, maybe a little bit before. I tell you what I have done. There's a series of heists in the game. I've done the first heist, and then a bunch after that. So I don't think it's a spoiler to say that. No, actually, it might be. So fuck it, I won't say it. Yeah, I'm a decent chunk in, but I still feel like I'm only kind of scratching the surface. There's a hell of a lot more to come, which is why I don't want to consider this like a review, because I don't think I've played enough. I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about this right now as a review. So this is more like what I think of the game so far, even though it's probably likely not to actually change. You know, it's such a big game and such a vast, expansive project that I just don't want to label it like that just at this moment in time, if you know what I mean.
Well, how are you finding it so far?
Well, I, as people who know me and probably people who listen to this podcast, I'm a huge fan of these Rockstar's open world games, as so many other people are, considering it made $800 million in the first day. But like a huge fan. Like it's kind of become fashionable to slate GTA 4 these days, and while that game hasn't aged brilliantly in terms of things like checkpointing and some of the mission design, I still think it's like one of the true masterpieces of this genre. So to get that, what I thought was so amazing about GTA 4 was the level of detail in creating a city that felt. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel like I was in a real city. It felt like I was in the real vision of what they've always tried to create in a GTA city. And this GTA 5 has that level of detail. It's actually got more detail, but it's also got the scope of San Andreas and to a different extent Red Dead Redemption. Just it starts off brilliantly with the flashback initially, then you're dropped into the city with Franklin, and it felt like I felt like I was back in San Andreas, the game, but also like with the GTA 4 engine, but like way enhanced. It looks fucking phenomenal at times. But then later on, as I've explored north, because at first I was kind of scared to, not because something would happen, but I don't know, I felt like I was safe in the city, I understood what was happening, and out there was just this kind of wild expanse, and maybe part of it was not wanting to see everything the game had to offer straight away, or maybe it was just the fact that this is the first GTA that hasn't restricted you, because all the other GTAs have restricted you to one area, then as you get further, you can open up new areas, but this allows you to drive wherever you want. And that first trip to the desert was just like, this really is quite something. They've really gone above and beyond this time. I don't really understand how this game gets made. I understand that it's made by hundreds and hundreds of people and it costs hundreds of millions of dollars. That I understand, but it more from a creative, artistic and technical point of view, I don't know how the fuck they made this shit.
Yeah, no, I mean it does possess. It is jaw dropping what they've achieved, and you know it's a beautiful game, and just they've totally and utterly nailed Los Angeles, and it's something that's true of all big cities. But if you've ever been there, I've only been there once.
I've actually not.
Have you not?
No, I've never been.
You notice this in almost every city, but I mean, the discrepancy between rich and poor in Los Angeles is so vast. I remember being, 8 minutes away from Hollywood Boulevard, and on the side of the freeway there was a family living in a shack, and I was just like, you can't get your head around that.
Yeah.
This completely nails that. You can be in the most opulent area, and then a few streets down, you're in a completely different part of town. It somehow manages to put what's a huge city into such a small space, and it looks. I mean, it just looks ridiculous. What I like so much about the storytelling is that one problem that I have had with GTA games in the past is that the storytelling was almost completely restricted to the cutscenes. It would say, you have to go here and do this, you'd go there and do it, you'd come back, more cutscenes, and then the story would move on. In this, a lot of the story comes when you're actually playing the game, and that's so exciting, because it's something that GTA's toyed with a little bit, but by and large it's always been kind of restricted to sort of keeping one in one area, one in the other. I know some people haven't liked this, but I absolutely love the fact that there's 3 characters. And I love the fact that when you flip between them, it's part of me wants to try and break it to see, because whenever you jump to another character, they're somewhere doing something, and you're like, why? How did they get there? I wonder what they were doing. I know if I did it enough times, it would repeat, but it's so cool. It feels like you're toying with a film, bouncing between these three different characters. I know a lot of people like the progression of having one sort of cipher to move. I think this is so much more engaging. As far as the police, one issue, another thing that's been a problem for me in GTA games in the past is that the police can often see you through buildings. So one of the best things you were able to do in like Driver is you can take a sharp turn into a back alley, sit there and hide.
Yeah.
And GTA's never really allowed you to do that, and you can't really. I mean, now on the when you see the police on the radar, they've got this sort of you can see what their field of vision.
Yeah.
If they drive and you're invisible to them, but that touches you through a wall, they'll come and that's a bit of a letdown. But it's incredible so far. I think I'm 25% of the way through the story, according to the stats in the game, and I haven't seen any of the really contentious stuff yet.
No, I've not, so I can't comment on that.
Yeah,
at all. Wouldn't want to.
Yeah. It's funny how when GTA 4 came out, before GTA 4 came out, it's funny that Saints Row 4 just came out, and Saints Row 1 came out just before GTA 4, so in that space of time they've released 3 sequels.
Yeah.
But one thing that Saints Row did, I said, I hope that GTA nicks the adaptable waypoint, because you could never adapt the waypoints previously. You could never set a waypoint and then drive there. It was always just... you had to sort of manoeuvre it yourself, and GTA 4... Was GTA 4 the first to do that?
I think so.
Yeah. And in the same way, they've kind of nicked a little bit of Saints Row. Have you done any of Trevor's Rampage missions?
Done one, yeah.
That's straight out of Saints Row. Completely consequence-free and, ridiculous. And then when it's finished, there's no... Yeah, you just... it's like Saints Row. It's just like it stops and then the game's back to normal, which seems like... Those guys are definitely paying attention to what Saints Row.
They've made some real concessions, haven't they, as well, to what they used to be with 4 and the older games. They were like stuck in their ways. This is the way GTA works, and that's why 4 didn't have any checkpoints. They made concessions to that in the DLC games, the DLC packs, and then Red Dead and whatnot. I know that's just a different team, but it's all fucking same. But this, now you've got the GPS on the map. You never had that before. Now you've got proper checkpointing, actually really like good checkpointing I'm finding in the missions. They've made it a much more playable game. And on that tip, the fucking driving and the shooting are both fantastic. GTA for me, from 3 onwards, was like, this is amazing. Shame the gameplay isn't that good, but it doesn't matter. Vice City especially. San Andreas improved. 4 decent, but still you'd say like shooting's not great. The driving's good, but it's not like a real driving game. Both of them for me, like the shooting is up there with, once I switched it to free aim, which I'd highly recommend doing. It's just up there, like the way the physics work. The guns are so satisfying. I like the different special moves that you have with Trevor. The fucking psycho filter is amazing. Yeah. And then the thing that's really blown me away is the driving model. I've spent literally hours just driving, even on the same streets, up around the Hollywood Hills and just beyond, in a nice car, just cruising, like not crashing as well, which is something you always used to crash in GTA. You'd eventually spin out or clip something. That still happens a lot, but I've been able to drive for ages without crashing, just by softly using the right analog to kind of ease off the gas. It just feels so good just doing that. They finally really, really nailed the gameplay for me, the actual moment-to-moment mission stuff. That was always the weakest part of these games, was the missions. Now I'm fucking looking forward to every mission. Like, come on, every single one's been a cracker. I haven't been on a shit one yet. Amazing game. One last point that I wanted to make. Like I say, I can't give final verdicts. We haven't seen the contentious stuff. There's loads more of the game to come. We're in a situation where I can take my time a little bit, which is nice, because I must have written 100,000 words on GTA in the past, over reviewing the previous games, writing previews, writing features. It's kind of nice just to be able to play it and talk about it, but not have to actually put any words on paper. But this is a game, I was thinking this yesterday, where at one point I walked up the mountain at the top end of the map, Mount Chiliad. It took me about 20 minutes to walk up. looked out from the top and you can see everything. I don't know if you've been up there, but the view's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
So you've got that incredible scale. A bit later on, I was flying a plane over that area. Those mountains suddenly seemed small because I was high up in a plane, and it was still taking me ages to just roam this vast expanse and see things moving below, and that was amazing. But then later on still, I was playing as Michael, and I was down in like Venice Beach equivalent, Vespucci Beach, at half health, and I decided to go and buy a hot dog, and just went up, as you do, definitely in GTA 4, and I assume it's the same in this, just walk up to the hot dog guy, press left or right on the D-pad, whatever it is, and buy a hot dog, get your health back. But for some reason, it didn't activate the thing to buy the hot dog, and Michael just did it where he just went up to the hot dog vendor and went, "Fuck you!" so the vendor just stepped out, like, it looked real. He just kind of like got all affronted, and his shoulders went back and his chest came out, and he kind of stumbled around his cart, and he was like, pushed me, and he was like, "Fuck you, buddy." And then I just pressed R, and Michael just threw a picture perfect uppercut, one shot KO into the guy's jaw, and he just dropped, like his knees buckled beneath him, and he just dropped. And I was like, this is amazing. So, but then everybody started to scatter, and I got a 1 star. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to get in a car and book it. Nicked in a nearby car, started turning around the corner, and then some dude's in the way, some like jock guy who's just in his swimming shorts. So I start honking him, and he looks at me, and then grabs a phone and just starts taking a photo of me on his phone. And I was like, how is this the same game where an hour ago I was up in the sky looking at this map? How is it this detailed? And I feel like I'm having real interactions with real people in the crazy GTA world, a world where I love. And I'd imagine next week I'll get to talk about some of the more interesting points of what people are talking about, the representations of characters, representations of female characters, contentious scenes. I'm interested to talk about all of that stuff, but have nowhere near played enough to even go into that stuff.
I mean, Rockstar do. I mean, this is almost a cliche to say it, but they do things like this on a complete. There's no one to touch them.
No.
The level of detail is absolutely just boggles the mind.
Yeah.
And the way they handle. I mean. The sort of hustle and bustle of New York was kind of replicated to a degree in GTA 4, but there's bits in this where one of the worst things about Los Angeles is traffic. If you go and ask somebody, a taxi driver, to take you somewhere and say you need to be here by a certain time, he'll laugh at you. There are bits where you can tell that how it's sort of cleverly, as soon as one car goes out there, it will appear on a different. But the hustle and bustle of being in the city and it being really fast and so much going on, I don't know how they did it on this current hardware. I don't think anything's come even close to how sort of effective they've done that. Effectively, sorry. The driving, you're right about the driving. It's the best it's ever been. It's no surprise that it's kind of taken a little bit of burnout with it, especially when you're playing as Franklin. Yeah. But yeah, it's at this point, it's as well as being jaw-dropping technically. I like the way it's doing things with the narrative. I think it's incredibly special. Again, I can't really talk about. I mean, the misogyny thing is difficult because a lot of people are talking about it whilst also saying they haven't played it, and I still have a problem with that. Yeah, I do. People are sort of, Graham Linehan, someone who everyone respects, and he was on Twitter saying. It's making all of these concrete judgments and comments about the game, and I just thought, God, I mean, there's no way you do that about a book or a film that you hadn't seen or a book you hadn't read. There's no way in the world. I don't know why it's kind of rewound almost 100 years, so people think that this is... Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I do know that I felt kind of uncomfortable a couple of times because it seems so full on. I mean, there was that comment at the beginning where Michael's son and his sister are having his son and daughter are having an argument. He's like, "Oh, fucking rape you, I'll rape you." And I was just like... I kind of just wish it wasn't there, but at the same time, these are supposed to be the most unpleasant people on the planet, and if I'm saying that that's wrong, is there a line that's crossed, and where is that line? Do we need to compile a list of things? I think people go off on these weird tangents and they don't realise what they're actually asking. I mean, I think there's no argument that they're supposed to be scumbags, but hopefully, I mean, I'd like to see no more of that crap just because it's kind of... but it's supposed to be. That's the problem. It's the problem with all of these situations.
What I will say, I mean, I'll put my hands up first, right? This is not me finalising my opinion. I need to play a lot more of the game, and I don't know. Something might happen later in the game. I might change my opinion. I'm more than open to that. So this isn't me stamping my feet and going, this is what I think, and I'm never changing my mind. I'm never like that anyway, but especially now. But having played, and think some of the people who talk about this stuff haven't actually played a lot of GTA. Having played to completion every single Grand Theft Auto game and expansion pack, every single one, I think that I have a fairly decent understanding of the tone that they're trying to create. I don't think this is tonally much different to 4 or to San Andreas or to Vice City. They're all very similar. The kind of Rockstar hyper-real world is very similar in all of them. And basically, it is a world where everyone, from the characters, from the supporting cast, to the fucking people in the street, everyone is terrible. But they're all played for laughs, even when it gets nasty. Now, again, not seeing the contentious stuff, so like I said, gonna withhold judgment on final opinions, blah, blah, blah. It's not justifying what I'm saying. I would be surprised that I will change. If I would be surprised if anything made me think in a different way, even if occasionally it might make you go, ugh. But I've always given them a break because they're writing however many thousands of pages of script compared to you know, a 2-hour movie or whatever. But that's the world that they've created. Everybody on the street, the random people, everyone, male, female, everyone is awful. Everyone. That's what it is, but not in a like depressing way. I just find it funny, but that's been the world that they've created especially since 3, but even since the first game. So you know, which was different people. But let's see. Let's see what I think later on.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of talk about. Have you done any of the paparazzi missions?
Yes, I've done the first 2 or 3, I think.
That is like amped up the most unpleasant character I've ever seen in anything, I think.
Yeah.
So vulgar and unpleasant and just a scumbag. But he kind of reminded me of, you know, that famous, sort of semi-famous clip where Steve Coogan and Greg Dyke are grilling that guy who used to run the Daily Mirror or something?
I don't...
It was on
Yes, I have. Sorry, yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
And he has the physical attributes of a worm. He's just slouching
of course, yeah.
He's just like, you are absolutely repellent, and this seems like that turned up to fucking 5001.
Yeah.
So, and people saying that that's unpleasant. I'm like, that guy he's clearly supposed to be. Well, anyway, we'll talk about.
Fuck yeah. Well, if you're saying that that's unpleasant and you're saying, oh, I don't like the game, then I'm sorry, you're stupid. It's like, come on, this guy's a scumbag. He's supposed to be a scumbag. It's supposed to be a very obvious comment on how fucking scummy paparazzi are. Yeah. It's not like it's difficult. Yeah, that's just people getting fucking their knickers in a twist. I mean, boys.
Yeah, but the danger with all of that stuff, as always, is that everyone tries to insinuate that this implies that the people who created it are unpleasant. And I just, when talk goes in that direction, I want to tear my hair out.
Yeah, me too.
But we shouldn't speak about it because we haven't finished it. But I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Or even, I don't feel like I played enough. I mean, you don't necessarily have to finish it, but I definitely don't feel like I played enough. But oh well. Yeah, we've been, both of us, I think, have been frustrated throughout the week and reading things. But what we should actually do is just unfollow all the people that annoy us on Twitter and just basically follow each other and maybe like 3 other people, Danny Dyer, someone else, and then we won't have any of these problems anymore. But God damn it, if we're not addicted to the chaos, much like the characters in Grand Theft Auto 5, they call me a professional.
Nicely done.